From now on, if you're the first comment of the previous video, I'm going to feature you in the upcoming video. Also, huge shout out to the Noted gang. If you guys want to get featured in the next video, all you guys have to do is like this video, subscribe, post notifications on, and leave a nice comment with your gamer tag. All right, we're going over the top 5 best loadouts in Warzone right now, and I'm going to start out with an absolute monster. We're going to start out with the PPSH because this is currently what everybody's running, and you guys need the best version. So we're going to start with the recoil booster for the increased fire rate and slight reduction of accuracy, Empress 140mm rapid for the increased fire rate and bullet velocity. You get a reduction of horizontal recoil control and sprint to fire speed. By the way, guys, at the end of this, I'm going to show you guys the entire class setup so you guys can actually take a screenshot. I want you guys to know why I'm actually using these. The 230mm BO3P is great for hip fire, but this is better for the ADS players, and you'll still be able to hip fire, but you get great fire rate and bullet velocity. Now we're going to move on to the slate reflector, because it's personal preference. You can use the niter or you can use the regular sight, but I think the slate is the best option. Throw on the skeletal for the sprint to fire speed and movement speed. Now if you don't want to use that, I mean, you can use folding for better recoil control, but I think that the skeletal is best in regards to movement. If you want to strafe and all that, this will be a great option overall as well. I mean, just for the increased movement speed, doesn't actually help with strafe speed or anything like that. Throw on tight grip for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire to compensate for this. We're gonna throw on quick for the increased sprint speed. There's really no other better option, maybe on hand, but I don't really see many people using on hand for SMGs. Throw on the polymer grip for the flinch resistance, so during gunfights you're not going to really bounce all over the place, and the accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. One thing you guys have to actually keep in mind is the PPSH, it shoots incredibly fast and it does kick a bit. So this is actually going to handle that, and I think it's the best grip overall for this build right here. I'm going to throw in the 8mm Nambu 71 round mags for the recoil control and accuracy, fire rate, and magazine ammo capacity. Now you do get a reduction of bullet velocity and range, bullet speed, and bullet penetration and damage, but trust me when I say this build right here with the increased fire rate and recoil control is going to absolutely obliterate the enemies before they have a chance to even hit you with the Gorenko 71s or any other one. Trust me, this is the best option. I threw on subsonic just so there's no minimap ping, but if you don't want that and you just want lengthen for increased bullet velocity, you can use that. It's completely up to you, whichever one you want to use. Bullet velocity is pretty good for lengthen and any other SMGs. Trust me when I say I think subsonic is the better option though, just because you're going to be killing people very quick. They're not going to have any idea where you're coming from in regards to the map, and you're absolutely going to slay. Now the M19 30 stripe angle, it is a controversial one because a lot of people like to use either the Carver for a grip or the M19 41 hand stop. The reason the M19 30 stripe angled is the best option is because the kick pattern is actually a horizontal recoil control pattern anyway. So this is the overall best option because it's actually tailored for it. Also, you get a reduction of aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. But this right here is the best PPSH class, and this is the perfect opportunity to take your screenshot if you wanted it. Next, we're going to use the Graw. This Graw right here is absolutely broken and it's incredible for the season 5 meta. We're throwing down the monolithic suppressor for the sound suppression and damage range. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed and aim walking steadiness, but then we're going to move on to the Tempest 26.4 Archangel. You get more damage range, more bullet velocity, and more recoil control. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed and movement speed, but this is actually better than the FSS 20.8 Nexus. Now with this, you do get some more mobility than the Tempest Archangel, but this is going to be great for long distance fights, no recoil, and this is going to be overall better than the FSS Nexus. Throw on the VLK 3x optic. If you don't want to use that, you can use the regular iron sight. It really does not move, and then you can move with the FTAC R89 rubber if you want to, or if you want to use sleight of hand, completely up to you. There's really a bunch of things you can choose to, you know, rack it on with. I throw in the 60 round mags just for the max amount of ammo. If you want to use the 50 round, the only good side is you're going to have a little bit more aim down sight speed and a little bit more movement speed. But overall, you want as many bullets as possible with this AR. This thing hits really hard and is the best choice. Throw on Ranger foregrip for the recoil control and aiming stability. You get a reduction of aim walking movement speed and aim down sight speed. Next, I have to talk about my baby, the H4 Blixen. This thing is absolutely incredible, and we're going to start out with the recoil booster. You get increased fire rate and a slight reduction of accuracy, and then we're going to move on to the Janssen 9-inch RMK. Now I'm going to give you guys 2 builds, but this is going to be the first one. It's going to be the highest damage and fastest TTK. You get increased damage range, and increased bullet velocity with a reduction of recoil control and accuracy, hip fire accuracy, and headshot damage. Now this is absolutely strongest barrel. This right here, best barrel. You get a little bit more recoil though. Now you throw on slate reflector or niter or the iron sight, which is going to be the Magnus CZA. Completely up to you, whichever one you want to use. Throw on the remove stock for movement speed, sprint to fire speed, and aim down sight speed. You get a reduction of flinch resistance, recoil control, accuracy, and aim walking steadiness. There's really no better option in my opinion. I mean, if you really wanted to use the Janssen skeletal, I mean, it's completely up to you, but I don't really see a better alternative. I mean, you try it out for yourself if you want to. I throw on Fleet for the weapon swap quickness and movement speed, Quick for sprint speed, Grooved Grip for aim walking move speed, horizontal recoil control, ADS firing move speed, and aiming stability. You get a reduction of sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. This is the best option because you're going to be strafing like crazy with this gun. I throw in 7.62 Gorenko 54 round mags because you get recoil control and accuracy, increased torso damage, which is absolutely amazing. And you basically have a built-in vital. You get a reduction of movement speed, which you already have, bullet penetration, bullet velocity and range, which you already have, and aim down sight speed, which you already have. Throw on lengthen for increased bullet velocity. If you don't want the increased bullet velocity on top of all the bullet velocity you already have, you can throw on subsonic and you'll get no minimap ping, and that'll be fine too. Throw on the SG98 compact for aim walking movement speed and reduced scope sway and gun bob. Now, if you don't want to use the Janssen, the only alternative I would recommend is the Bergstrom 17-inch F3 for the recoil control and accuracy, bullet velocity, and flinch resistance. This is a no recoil build, but it doesn't kill as fast as Janssen. It won't give you recoil, but it's not going to kill as fast. Completely up to you, whatever one you decide to trade off. You also get a reduction of sprint to fire speed and idle sway control, but this is the best build for the H4 Blixen. Now we're going to talk about one of my personal favorites, the Nikita. This thing is absolutely incredible. You're going to put on the MX silencer for the sound suppression, horizontal recoil control, vertical recoil control, and damage range. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. Then you're going to put on Empress 613mm BFA for recoil control, damage range, bullet velocity. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and aim walking movement speed. But you're going to put on the SVT 40PU scope. Remember, this as a glint, so if you don't want to use that, you can use the G16. There will be no glint, but you'll get less magnification. Throw on the ZAC MS for horizontal recoil control and aiming stability. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed, movement speed, hip fire accuracy, and sprint to fire speed. Put on brace for the initial fire and recoil. You're going to fix that. Throw on hand for aim down sight speed. Throw on hatch grip for recoil control and flinch resistance. If you don't want to use that, you can use polymer grip for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, but it's completely up to you, whichever one you want to use. Throw on the 7.62 50 round mags for that magazine ammo capacity. Do not use the Sakura rounds because they don't increase fire rate. Helps with recoil control, but look at the trade-off. You get a reduction of damage range and a reduction of bullet velocity. You want as strong and as powerful as a weapon as possible, and because this build already has no recoil, the 50 round mag is the best option. Throw on lengthen for the increased bullet velocity and throw on bipod for the recoil control when mounted, crouched, or prone. This is what makes it have zero recoil whatsoever. And this is the Nikita build if you guys want to screenshot this. And last but not least, the good old Armor Guerrera. This gun is still absolutely meta, still absolutely powerful. We're going to start out with the recoil booster for the fire rate, slight reduction of accuracy. Throw on the body 315 MMC2 for the damage, less damage fall off at long range, and bullet velocity. You get a reduction of recoil control and accuracy. Throw on the slate reflector or the, I don't know, the niter or just the regular sight, completely up to you, whichever one you want to use. Throw on the Emerito SA folding for the sprint to fire speed and movement speed to get a reduction of initial fire and recoil. Throw on hard scope for the recoil control. If you don't want to use that, I mean, you can use steady or sleight of hand, whichever one you want to use. Throw on quick for sprint speed. Throw on hatch grip for recoil control and flinch resistance. If you don't want to use that, you can use polymer grip, completely up to you. Like I said, it gives increased flinch resistance and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. Throw on the 9mm 60 round mags. I mean, this is self-explanatory. The other ones aren't really the best choice. This increases fire rate, but it decreases the damage range. This increases damage, bullet velocity, bullet penetration, but decreases fire rate, which is known for. Throw on lengthen for bullet velocity, and throw on the M19 41 hand stop for recoil control. Slight reduction of hip fire accuracy. If you don't want to use that, then you can use the Mark VI skeletal for aim down sight speed and movement speed. You'll be flying around the map with this. If you don't want to use that, you can use Carver foregrip for more accuracy control, like recoil control. M19 30 strife angle for horizontal recoil control. And I mean, that's really it.